You've lived this moment. You walk into a room, or maybe it's a first date. Maybe it's the first few seconds after she sees you in person. She looks up. You say, hey. You sit down. And before the conversation has even really started, something has already happened beneath the surface. You can feel it. You're wondering, did that land well? Did she feel comfortable with me? Did I come off confident or trying too hard? Why do some men barely say anything and still feel magnetic? And why do other guys say all the right things but still feel off? Here's the truth most people never tell you. A woman usually isn't deciding whether you're perfect in the first 30 seconds. She's deciding whether you feel safe, whether you feel real, whether your presence makes her nervous system lean in or pull back. So no, man, this is not about having the best line. This is not about being the loudest guy in the room. And it is definitely not about pretending to be some hyper-confident version of yourself. You're not bad at this. You're not behind. And you do not need to become someone fake to be deeply attractive. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the 7 things women actually notice in the first 30 seconds, and how to show up in a way that creates connection before you've even said much at all. Let's get into it. Most couples, and most single people trying to date, believe attraction starts with looks, lines, status, or chemistry you either have or you don't. But the real truth is deeper than that. Attraction often starts as a nervous system experience before it becomes a thought, before she can explain it, before she can justify it. Before her mind catches up, her body is already reading your energy, your pace, your presence, your emotional steadiness, and whether you feel emotionally available or emotionally defended. That's the part no one talks about. Because what women notice first is rarely just your face. It's how being around you feels. Most people in relationships miss this too. They think connection breaks down because somebody changed. But beneath the surface, what usually changed was safety, presence, and the feeling of being turned toward. When safety leaves, connection doesn't disappear. It goes underground. And the same principle shows up in first impressions. A woman can meet a man who looks good on paper, sounds polished, even says the right things, and still feel something in her quietly say, I don't know, something feels off. Not because he's terrible, not because she's too picky, but because human beings are always reading for congruence. Not louder, not smoother, not more rehearsed, but more grounded, more present, more real. And here's what changes everything. When you understand what she's actually noticing, you stop performing and start becoming the kind of man whose presence speaks before his words do. 1. Calm energy over forced energy. Most couples, and honestly most people in relationships, underestimate how much energy speaks before language does. A lot of men think they need to impress fast, talk more, smile harder, push more charisma, fill every silence. But beneath the surface, forced energy usually feels like self-protection. It can read as, please like me, even when the words sound confident. And her nervous system catches that before her mind ever names it. Here's a real-life contrast. Disconnecting version. Hey, wow, you look amazing. Yeah, I've been to this place before. It's great. You're gonna love it. I'm actually a really spontaneous person. Connecting version. Hey, it's good to see you. A breath. Eye contact. A real smile. You look great. That second man isn't doing less because he doesn't care. He's doing less because he's not trying to outrun the moment. And when you show up calm instead of performative, she feels like she can exhale around you. 2. Your body tells the truth. This is where it gets really interesting. Most people think confidence is something you say, but women notice your body before they process your resume. Your shoulders, your pacing, your movements. Whether you seem settled in yourself or like you're bracing for judgment. Because body language is emotional honesty in physical form. A man whose body is tight, rushed, fidgety, or overly calculated can unintentionally signal tension, even if he's saying all the right things. And what her brain may quietly register is, he doesn't feel fully here. Now compare these two versions. Disconnecting version. He walks up fast, adjusts everything, laughs too quickly, keeps scanning the room, checks his phone, shifts constantly. Connecting version. He enters at his own pace. He looks at her when he speaks. He sits like he belongs there. No peacocking, no collapse. Just presence. This isn't about acting alpha, bro. This isn't a posture hack. This is what it looks like when a man's inner world and outer signals match. And when they do, the room around you starts feeling softer without either of you knowing exactly why. 3. She notices whether you're looking at her or just performing for her. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples drift because they stop feeling seen in the small moments. And in first impressions, that same pattern shows up fast. A woman can tell when a man is interacting with her versus delivering a version of himself he hopes will work on women in general. That difference matters more than men realize. Because being seen creates connection. Being managed creates distance. And a lot of women have felt the second one enough times to notice it instantly. For example, disconnecting version. So, what do you do? Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah, I've always said ambitious women are attractive. Connecting version. So, what do you do? She answers, you smile, and say, that actually explains your energy. You seem really grounded when you talk about it. See the difference? One response is generic. The other response proves you were actually there. And something in her may quietly say, he actually heard me this time. That's when attention stops feeling like strategy and starts feeling like connection. 4. How you handle the first few seconds of uncertainty. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Most people are fine when things feel easy. What reveals emotional maturity is how you handle the tiny moments that are slightly awkward, slightly unclear, slightly imperfect. Maybe there's a pause. Maybe she's a little reserved at first. Maybe the vibe hasn't fully warmed yet. Most men panic there. They rush to fix it. They overtalk. They self-abandon. But the deeper truth is this. The first 30 seconds often contain small uncertainty, and how you carry it tells her whether you need constant reassurance or whether you can stay emotionally steady in real time. Here's the contrast. Disconnecting version. She's quiet. Okay, maybe she's not into this. Let me compensate. So he starts performing harder. Connecting version. She's quiet. That's okay. I can stay here. So he remains warm, relaxed, and unhooked. Not cold, not needy, not trying to win her over every second. Just steady. And when you can hold a little uncertainty without unraveling, you stop feeling like pressure and start feeling like safety. 5. She notices how you treat the space around you. Most couples think attraction is private, but women notice how you relate to everything around you. The waiter, the room, the interruption, the small inconvenience, the person who can do nothing for you. Why? Because those moments reveal your default self, not the polished self, the real one. A man can be charming directly to her and still feel off if he's dismissive, impatient, entitled, or withdrawn with everyone else. Because what she feels beneath the surface is, if this is how he is when he's not curating himself, this is the version I'll eventually meet too. Watch the contrast. Disconnecting version. The server gets something wrong. He sighs, tightens up, and says, yeah, that's not what I ordered. Connecting version. He stays respectful. Hey, no worries. I think this might be the wrong one. Could we switch it when you get a second? That moment is never just about manners. It's about emotional regulation. It's about whether your presence creates tension or steadiness. And that's the shift that makes you feel less like a role she has to decode and more like a person she can trust. 6. Emotional availability has a sound. But here's what nobody explains. Women notice not just what you say, but the emotional tone underneath it. Your voice, your timing, whether your warmth feels accessible or blocked off behind sarcasm, overcool detachment, or constant joking. Most people in relationships hide behind style, humor, teasing, nonchalance. And sometimes that can be playful, but sometimes it's armor. Sometimes what sounds smooth is really a man saying, I want connection, but I don't know how to be real yet. Here's a simple example. Disconnecting version. She says, I almost didn't recognize you. He replies, yeah, I clean up all right. Try not to fall in love. Connecting version. She says, I almost didn't recognize you. He smiles and says, I was a little nervous too, honestly. That second line is small, but it's human. And what can move through her is, oh, he's actually real. That kind of honesty doesn't weaken attraction. It deepens it. Because emotionally available men don't make a woman guess what kind of room she's in. And that turns first contact from a performance into a place where connection can actually begin. 7. Congruence is the real first impression. And here's what changes everything. Most couples struggle because what they say and what they signal do not match. And in the first 30 seconds, women notice congruence fast. Whether your words, body, tone, and energy are all telling the same story. You can say I'm confident while your nervous system screams panic. You can say I'm interested while your attention feels split. You can say I'm a good guy while your presence feels guarded, restless, or unavailable. Congruence is when nothing in you is arguing with the rest of you. Here's the contrast. Disconnecting version. He compliments her but can't hold eye contact. He says he's chill but feels rushed. He says he's interested but keeps checking everything except her face. Connecting version. His words are simple. His energy matches them. He is where he is. He means what he says. And she feels that. This isn't game. This isn't technique. This is just what emotional maturity looks like in real life. And when a woman feels congruence from you, the walls don't have to come down all at once. They just stop needing to go higher. So no, this is not a checklist for becoming more impressive. It's an invitation to become more present, more grounded, more emotionally honest. Because when you internalize this, you stop trying to control first impressions and start creating something much more powerful. A moment where another person feels safe enough to actually meet you. That is what you're becoming. Not a man who knows the right lines. A man whose presence feels real. A man who doesn't just ask for connection, he creates the conditions for it. And in a world full of performance, that lands deeply. Because at the end of the day, women don't remember the man who tried the hardest. They remember the man who felt the most real.